Hello everyone, welcome on back to Survival Challenge. Alright, so first things first, I just want to bring this down. I was filling up the water for the greenhouse here, which it'll likely be the last month that it's olives. I'll probably start turning it into grapes and then have it eventually obviously be turned into raisins from there. That's at least the goal, to do it that way. But yeah, I'm gonna get it down here because we do have that one field there that does need to be planted. I need to check on which fields need to be sprayed. Was it 2 or 3? I think it was 2. Just check this too. Yeah, it's 2. And this obviously needs to be planted. Otherwise, yeah, next month there is no fields that are gonna be ready for harvest. So more than likely what we'll end up doing next month will be, we might be putting like water buffalo or cows down. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And we might be like cutting the grass or something in there just so we can get even more food for them. It doesn't seem like we'll end up needing any for the goats though, because like 20, we'll say like 20 months ago. I don't know if there's a way to check how old the pen is, but it's been a little while. And I filled it up once, I've never filled it up again. The meadow has kept them going the entire time, which is nice. I just kind of wish I knew that ahead of time. I wouldn't have put so much effort, obviously, making a grass field for hay. We do have some honey there. It is about 500 liters, so fairly good amount. That'll be obviously a nice little slow thing to kind of make as we do, hopefully, raisin cereal was the goal. Let's see here. Yeah, the raisin cereal. It's really the only cereal that we have the products and could easily make. Right, we got a decent amount of herbicide there. Yeah, we got 2 different fields for spraying. Yeah, the goal is I'm going to try to stop the olives right around max, like 52,000 liters. Maybe it's a little bit over, maybe it's a little bit under, but, well, it won't be a little under. That way we can get another full pallet worth. And, you know, if there's 100 extra liters, I can just have that sell out. That's not a big deal, but I want as much as I can at the best price because it is going to be sold next month. It's the best price for olives, so pretty good timing to sell it. How was the... I didn't check this. I'll probably want to fill that up too, the canola in there. Which we still have a good amount. Yeah, 25,000 liters on hand still. So, good amount still on hand even. Now, I think what I'm going to end up doing with that field, I'm going to do probably... I'm considering doing soybeans, which, yes, I already have soybeans here. I know, probably doesn't make sense. But I could do soybeans here, and I'll say whatever comes off of field 43 will go into becoming soy sauce. I think that'll be a good, easy way to kind of separate of like, all right, I want to do soy sauce. Let's try to separate where it's just one field going in. That way, if it's really like unrealistic amount of money, it's not like it's going to be a ton of fields going in. It's just going to be one fairly sizable field going in. Otherwise, I think for the most part, soybeans will primarily be one of those crops we'll just kind of sell off the field. And, get the best price we can out of it. It seems to be the best way to do things right now, at least for us. But I was hoping to get maybe the raisin production placed today. Today. It'll be placed back there by the other sawmill and those productions. It'll be placed over there. And in the cow pen, I'm going to try to basically use up all of that grass field. I know I was kind of going back and forth on how I wanted to place it. I think that seems to be the best way to do it. Really, the only time it's going to be semi-annoying would be to bring, like, the harvester up. Obviously, because it would, I wouldn't be able to drive next to it with the fence there, but I could still drive down this path, and it would be for one field. So it wouldn't be that often where it's like, yeah, it's not that huge of a deal in the end then. Obviously, I talked about that piece over there of buying it. That is probably in the cards still. It's not going to be like an immediate thing. I want to get either cows or water buffalo going. And also get the raisin production and stuff like that going first. That's probably the first priority. Having more land really doesn't do you any good if you can't keep up with your current stuff. So I like to make sure I can have everything here set good before I add more to the plate. Which, I mean, like I said, next month we're fairly open. We have olives to sell, but I'm hoping to place the cows down and probably cut that grass piece there. And potentially we might have to do fertilizer on it afterwards. So I noticed in Moss Valley I had to do that. Otherwise it would take a pretty decent hit in the nitrogen, which was a little bit different from 22. I knew in 22 you take a little bit of a hit, but it's not that bad. Because you get a little bit of nitrogen, obviously, when you cut the grass, much like base game, you're one layer of fertilizer. It's a similar concept, but it's not enough for a full nitrogen. I've always kind of left it, at least in 22 I did, and that doesn't seem to be the best way of things in 25, at least. What I think I'll go ahead and do, though, is I'll start with time-lapse. We'll get this field sprayed, and I can hop over to the JCB. We'll get that field planted. And we can probably, place the raisin production down and, try to keep an eye on this so we can make sure it doesn't go too far over. Yeah, I'll check it, everyone, once the time-lapse is done. Alright, so we're just about done here. We'll probably want to double check on the olives, of course. I want to make sure I keep a close-ish eye on that, make sure it's not going to be way out of, way extra, I guess. Still 300 to be made, so we might not see it even in today's video. I might have to, increase time speed a little bit off camera and get it just right, and then turn off the production, and I might turn it off overnight. Well, unless I have the production ready, actually. Yeah, I'll probably have the GRAPE production ready, so I'll So I'll just turn it on and have it automatically move over right away. Alright, well, we won't need the planter for a little bit. Because, well, it doesn't look like we have any fields that will be ready anytime soon. Slow and steady. Alright, well, let's get... actually, I'll probably want to get that trailer out of the way. Which I have to put canola into that production anyways. It is a little bit low. Unless there's canola in the trailer. No, it doesn't look like it. I'll get it moved even though it shouldn't impede on the area to back up, which really I should just back this up so it's kind of in the area where I would need it, and then try to place it. That way I have a pretty good idea on how it's going to sit in there. This is not a cheap production if I remember right. $240,000. Really, the biggest thing is which way does it go in? That's the biggest thing. It would fit pretty well right in here. Ideally, I'd want it somewhere in here, though, which I might need to cut. Yeah, I probably have to cut a tree, it looks like. That way I have as much room as I possibly need to back up into that. And if I back up in there with semi, I want as much room as I can, so. I want to push it this way. I'd probably want to cut those 3 trees, it looks like. Alright, there we got that all put in there. I think that should be enough room to place it in there nicely. I might... Yeah, I missed this tree. I still gotta do this tree. This tree would allow it to be pushed farther back up in here. And it should give more room to back up into not only the grape production, but also into these productions. That's, obviously a huge thing you gotta keep in mind, is making sure you can still get to your current productions. Well, up to 20,000 liters in there. It's not far off from the other one, I don't think. Yeah, look at that. That looks perfect in there. And I'll put it something like that. Alright, so I'll have to do free mode. So it will be 240,000. I'll just have to do a lot of ground leveling, though, I'm guessing myself. We'll put that there. It's not terrible. It's possible this trigger might not work correctly, and honestly, this whole building should be lowered in this backside. Just a little bit. The AC units are underground, so it'd be best. And this obviously needs to be raised up some. Might be tough to keep it even, but they do spawn up here, so we want to try to get it somewhat decent. That is the name of the game, at least. Somewhat decent. I want to drive this way, see if it's rough. It's not too bad. I don't think I hit one bump. That's kind of how you want it. I mean, you don't want it to be rough. And if I drove through here, it would... Yeah, it's a pretty decent hump. Obviously, you're not going to drive through here that often, but... That'll be the biggest thing, is I might want a little bit higher in the corners, but it'll take a little bit of fine-tuning to get it exactly how I need it to be. Alright, I'm just going to put all of the canola into here. Let's check the olives again. It's getting close. The olives are getting close. Makes sense. Just grab it all. It'll all fit in here, so. But that seems to be the best area, really, for the grape production. It's kind of out of the way, and considering it's primarily just going to run... brakes, please. It's just going to run grapes, and I'll be able to kind of stack them away up there. Because I don't think I'm going to have them auto move over to that production, just because I don't think we'll have enough honey, probably, to keep up with it. You know, we're getting, looks like 500 liters per month from what I'm seeing, but obviously that's not going to create that much cereal. If I look through here, it's one of the least things we need. We need 10 liters of it for 50 liters of cereal. Oh, that cycles count as really high, but I suppose it's because it makes one raisin. It makes sense. It makes sense. It can literally go through, though, what, 10,000 liters of grapes a month? You know, I could place the cow barn. At least take a look at the options, too. Nothing in sales. This wouldn't be horrible if I want to do grapes the legit way. I do also need to look at slurry tankers at some point, because basically every cow pen is going to have slurry. So I have to keep that in mind. That is something that I will have to keep in mind. And remember, I don't need anything huge, especially 1,000. I don't need that. Honestly, I'm looking at something that has a custom pasture on it, preferably. This wouldn't be bad. Make a custom pasture off of this. It looks like, yeah, you feed them through there. Milk over there. Slurry over there. It's not a bad option, because I could kind of, push it up against here. And, then have this whole thing Or I could also push it up here. Actually, no, I wouldn't want to push it up there. And you don't want to push it too far one way in here, because it looks like we're going to have to drive through it. So the best one would be right pushed into here. Like one of these has a custom pasture and one doesn't, I think. Otherwise, I don't know what the difference really is. They're both 70. I thought that maybe there's another cheaper option too, but this one. That's 65. I think this would probably be nice. It has 80 base, but we have the ability to even do more, which is definitely... We don't have the space for that, but... this would actually give us more. As 99. This one might be a little on the wide side, maybe? Might fit fine, too. This one's nice and condensed. That's the... Well, as condensed as a big barn can be. See, food looks like it's on the inside. I would assume it would almost double the capacity. Kind of taking a shot in the dark, but... Oh yeah, and then this one is, yeah, with milk. The mod of the base game version. This one does fit pretty decent in there. Like, it fits pretty good. It'll be a toss-up between one of these two, and it might just be... This one I'm considering, just because I like the design more, personally. It's a little bit cheaper, not that that's a huge deal, but... I feel like I'd have a better shot of kind of keeping things more condensed with it. So I have a little bit more room on the edges. So that might be the best route for that. Not sure why I hooked up to this. More than likely we'll end up doing cows next time is kind of what I'm seeing at least. And I'm surprised that's still emptying. I thought you had to be hooked up to it. Because then we can have this whole area as meadow, even though we'll be giving him hay is the goal, at least. But we have the ability to make silage in here as well. And then, let's see. Straw we'd have to make separate. We'd have to do that separate. But we could do silage in here as well as the hay and everything. So we could do total mix for that. It would just be straw. Then obviously I did mention slurry tankers. We're looking at something probably fairly sizable is the goal. And some of these have attachments on it, like this would be. I have to keep in mind I would need precision farming stuff. Oh, this one has it. I would need that, and then I would also probably need one of these on top of that. So we're talking like 300,000. That would not be super soon, actually, then. Because the cow barn, I'm guessing to place everything's going to be 200,000. Once you figure a little bit of water buffalo in there even. It's going to be a lot more expensive than you think. And we don't have a ton. We have a decent amount to sell, actually. Because next month we'll have olives to sell. Should be a high price. It seems to be going that direction. In theory, soybeans should be there, but it is $30,000 below. Which is a lot less than it's a lot less than I'm used to on that. And obviously we still have like long planks and wood beams, which that's like $70,000 right there. So we could probably make it happen fairly quick. And it's not like the slurry's going to fill up, overnight. And really my goal with the slurry is we'll put it on fields as needed, preferably the grass field mainly. It's kind of what I've done in precision farming, or not precision farming, but in survival challenges in the past, I've done it a lot on grass fields. And then I'll just put like a first layer down on some fields, because usually it's not enough, it seems to be. Which kind of makes sense, I guess. Just put a little bit down so we can use some that way. But primarily it'd be grass, and then put some down on the other fields as needed. But if needed, we'd sell some, but I would try not to. I know in other series I usually end up selling a lot of it because, well, it's one of those things where you don't get a lot of fertilizer from slurry usually. Maybe it's a little bit different, obviously, in precision farming, because you'll have the precision farming aspect of it. But yeah, that is about everything for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye.